Okay, so
We played against Nigel Davies, who was an English grandmaster. Later on, I mean, the future English grandmaster. In that time, he was international master, I think. We played in Gijon in Spain. It was the European Rapid Chess Championship, and it was very interesting. In round 6 or 7 or something like this, it was probably the best game of the round. Very important theoretically and very important tactically. Okay, it was difficult to say why and how after so many years, but the idea for black is very important even now. It's very well known line for black, very good even now in the computer time, let's say. The machine will approve, I think, such an idea. We'll see.
I like it.
Okay, so d5, knight bd2, g6, bishop g2, bishop g7, castle, knight g7, rook e1. Until now, everything is clear. Everything is theory until now. You see. Rook e1, b6, c3, h6. Okay. After h6, somehow black wanted to play g5, so therefore he doesn't allow it. He plays himself h4. But now, after h4, black can open the game later on, very quickly and in a very sharp way. We'll see. So now you have to react on the other side, to develop the last piece, the bishop from c8. We organize the position by playing a5, winning a little bit more space for black. So he stops the idea. I mean, he played a4. And after a4, we had time to play rook a7. Now everything is defended. We wait a little bit to see what happens. And now he has to take a decision what to do with white. So now after rook a7 is very good defensive move because you take the rook out of the big diagonal, later on.
Out of the bishop from here.
And you have the idea, somehow to put the rook, which defends the knight from e7, you have the idea rook d7 later on, if necessary. And now the alternative of knight f1, which is a little bit more passive, what to take in d5 is also a little bit better for black, but very difficult to break. I mean, it's white has some counterplay somehow. I played after e takes d5, e takes d5, a very sharp game against an international grandmaster from Yugoslavia, Strikovic, also in New York. I won finally the game, but it was very complicated until the end. Much more complicated than this one, you see. Knight f1 is a little bit too passive. Gives complete initiative for black, you see, now. And we see in a few moves why and how. After d4, he had to play c4, because if he didn't play c4 and he played c takes d4, for instance, the d3 pawn was much too weak later on, after it was very difficult to defend. The idea for black was very clear, bishop a6, rook d7, and he's almost winning the pawn immediately from d3, So he has to close the position by playing c4. But like this, he has always a very bad weakness on b4, you see. Knight b4 controls everything, and it's very difficult for white to have some counterplay. It's almost impossible. So, okay, e5, we close also the center, but we have more space. It's clear now that the only one who could win is black. Black has complete control and much better place, much better game. So now h5, he tries to have some counterplay himself. After knight b4, has to do something. I mean, he had to take, and knight h4. Now, surprise, I played g5 immediately. And after g5, he realized that even if he gives check in h5, after king f8 has nothing, and black is clearly better, and the queen from h5 is a little bit out of play also, Okay, so he came back, and now is complete defense for white. White has to do everything possible to try to defend the position, which is very difficult because the position is already very bad for white, So now rook e2, castle, we can see the result. We have control on the f file. The rook comes to f7 later on. All our pieces are much better placed. The knight from b4 is very, very strong. The knight from g6 is ready to attack immediately on the king side. So the white position is almost desperate here, you know. So in the next moves, we'll see what happens, you know. Knight h2. Okay, it was rapid chess. He tries to defend somehow the position, but it's almost impossible, I told you. So knight e1, g4. Okay, we attack on the other side also, no? So knight c2. Now we don't agree to take to trade knights. We move back the knight because it has no counterplay at all, you know. So knight c6 and bishop d2. Okay, finally he could succeed to move all the pieces, you know, but it's too late because he has no coordination. All the white pieces are very badly placed, you know. Yeah. The king has problems. All the, you know, the rest of the pieces, the rook from a1 doesn't play. The queen from d1 doesn't play. The only way to do something is to wait, you know, nothing else. So, right, king h7, black prepares the final attack, you know. Knight a3, and now, surprise. Okay, you have to take in f4. What else? If you don't take in f4, it's even worse, because if you lose the pawn d3, everything is, you know, under attack, you know. So you have to take with the pawn. Okay, I took. And
so you sacrifice knight?
Well, I sacrificed, but it's clear that has no counterplay at all. He has to wait, and, you know, now the threat is already f3, taking back the pawn with crushing position, you know. So he has to, if he doesn't agree to do this, he has to play himself f3, okay. He played f3. g3. Now he realized that knight f1 is the only move, because after knight g4, h5, he loses the knight.
No, there is nowhere to go?
No.
Yeah.
Okay, so knight f1, knight e5. Now look at the position. He has piece up, but it's completely crushed, you know, here. No counterplay at all. Has to wait again. Bishop e1, what to do?
Sad.
Yeah, so
situation.
Very sad, of course, but well, it's very rare that we have in normal chess we have such a position. But it happens. h5, bishop h1, h4. Okay, he could resign, of course, but okay, he continued until the end. Knight b5, bishop h6, b3, rook g8, rook a2, h3. And here he resigned, but look,
Wow.
Complete Zugzwang here. All pieces on board, I mean, it's unbelievable, you know. White has all pieces on board, but has no move, you know. The threats
no
are...
good move.
Well, not good move. I mean, it's almost mate in every position. The threats are, both threats are terrible, you know. G2, terrible threat. H2 check, terrible threat also, you know. So, okay, he resigned. Okay, what can he do?
Yeah, very, very bad placed.
All pieces are very bad, you know.
Yes.
He didn't, I mean, he played probably one or two moves in the opening, you know, in the middle game and the opening. It was a little bit, I mean, some small mistakes, but it was enough to have such a bad position, and finally the plan was excellent for black, you know. We have to mention also that it was not only my idea, it was an idea from Kasparov that he could beat almost in such a way a very strong opponent, Grandmaster Lubovich. I mean, for Lubovich...
So he had a similar game?
Similar, yeah, similar. Mm-hmm. Not exactly, but the idea was almost the same.
But did you know about that game?
I mean, I knew the idea from Kasparov. He knew my idea also. So, you know, from the long distance like this, we communicate, you know. But it happened. No, it happened. It happened. Nice. But the idea, I mean, the black idea is the same and very good one, even now. The plan is excellent for black, even now. In theory, you know, these are two very good examples. His game against Lubovich and my game against Nigel Davies. Of course, his game is even more important because the opponent was much stronger.
Much stronger.
Yeah, Lubovich was extra-class grandmaster, of course.
Nice. Yeah. Okay, thank you, Mr. Gheorghiu.
But I mean, it's almost like this. In Sicilian, it's a very good example when you see what can happen when you lose the initiative with white in Sicilian. Such a game can happen, you know. Very sad for white, but...
Very beautiful for black.
Very beautiful for blacks. From time to time, you know. Yeah.
Nice.
From time to time. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.